Hello, friends, and welcome to Coach Cut's Corner. Streaming bright from Michigan's capital city, this podcast is dedicated to helping you better understand the who, the what, and the why of mental performance, personal growth, and Lansing Stars baseball. Coach Cut's Corner, brought to you by iWash.
In collaboration with Lansing Community College.
And now here's your host, Stephen Cutter.
We have a special guest today in the WLNZ studios on the campus of Lansing Community College. It is none other than freshman Stars baseball player Griffin DeVooght. Griffin came to the capital city from Walled Lake Central High School, and I thought you all might enjoy his story. Welcome to the studios.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to start this off with a bang. Yes or no question only here. Your brother Gavin plays baseball at Michigan. Yeah, he's had his own story, and maybe we'll get into it a little bit, but lock in here. Is it true that your brother Gavin is a better athlete than you?
No, it is not. I would say no.
You like that picture I just gave you?
That's beautiful.
Yep. Okay, so you're gonna hold firm with the no. He's not a better athlete than you.
He would say that himself, I hope.
All right, well, let's keep it in the family. Tell me and our listeners about your immediate family, including Gavin.
Yeah, so my parents, Jen and Jason, obviously, and then I have an older sister. She's 23 years old, living out in Chicago now, and then my brother, who's 19, and he's a sophomore now at the University of Michigan.
Okay, but he didn't start out. Didn't he commit to like CMU originally?
Yep, so he committed to CMU originally, and then Coach Bishel left, and he decided to open up his recruiting. And it took him down to Ohio State, where he played one season there. Their coach also left, so he went back into the portal and took him to Michigan.
Beautiful, beautiful. I would assume that you've learned a lot from your siblings and also from your brother in the baseball journey.
Yeah, definitely. A lot from both of them.
Okay. You came here as a two-way player. I call that somewhat of a unicorn in baseball because you don't see a whole lot of two-way players in general, both at the college level and, of course, at the professional level. Most people can think of a few two-way players, that have played baseball, but that's not like overall. So even with us at the junior college level, you don't have a lot of kids that play, two ways, which is a stark difference from like high school because you have a lot of kids that pitch and play a position. And I think sometimes that's just out of necessity as well. But how's the process been going for you as a two-way at the college level?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing so far. Practices, obviously, you had a little bit longer of a practice, and you get to be there longer, which for me never was an issue because...
Yeah, it's a couple hours longer, because we run pretty much separate practices. They do overlap, but pitchers have their own practice and position players have their own practice, and then like I said, there's some overlap. But with that, you're basically getting double the practice.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely benefits you, if not every day, but in the long run, you put in more work than other people, so you're gonna end up being on the other side of it all.
It's something that I was thinking about as I was preparing for this podcast, and when you're a college athlete, you at some point will realize that most of your time is spent on that said sport that you're an athlete of. And at times you really have no idea, but if you track it and look at it, you kind of see how much time that you actually put in for the sport. And it's also time mentally that you're putting in because you're thinking about it. You're thinking about what you need to do. And not to digress too far, but athletes often struggle when the game is over for them because they miss the competitiveness, they miss the closeness, they miss the bus rides and the trips and that kind of stuff. And in the real world, you do miss a lot of those things. But what do you have? I mean, what hobbies or interests do you have that are outside of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, that goes for a long time. Number one, I like social media a lot. Expressing myself and kind of putting myself out there. Definitely on YouTube for what some people see. I like to post videos on there. kind of, show what I do.
What kind of videos are you posting on YouTube?
Yeah, so kind of like vlog videos.
Okay.
And they range for a lot of things, but time with friends, and obviously a lot of it is baseball stuff on there, which is what gets people looking at it. So,
do you have a number 2 besides the social media?
I mean, I have been cutting hair at the apartments, which has been doing good for me.
And you're making money on that?
Oh yeah, just a little bit, but that's for the teammates, so that's good.
I think we talked about that the other day, and were you able to figure out a way that you could add tips to?
We did. We made it work. So I told them $10, and I'd take a tip from $5 to $100. So
okay, is cutting hair something that you've done before?
No. I mean, I've done it with friends. Gave them mullets in the past, and me and my brother for sure always has spent time messing around with each other's hair, but.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. I think it's important to have, especially when you're younger, to have some hobbies and some other interests outside of your main thing, because it just gives you a little bit of relief. Sometimes people like to go, golf or, do that other stuff, because it just gives you a little bit of relief. Because when you're in sports, there's a lot of pressure there, and it doesn't matter if you're a coach or a player. There's just a lot of pressure there, and most of that pressure comes from expectations. It's the expectations of the coaching staff. It's the expectations of the fans. It's the expectations of your family. You got all these expectations there, which then creates pressure. And it's nice to be able to do some other stuff where it doesn't matter if you're using CapCut. It's still one of those things where you're getting a little bit of relief. I wanted to ask you, what do you believe might be the greatest challenge for you or maybe your teammates that you're facing right now? You're about a little over 2 months into the fall season. You've been going really hard, with practices and lifts and leadership and all the things that you kind of get thrown at you. Plus, you're living on your own for the first time, and so you're trying to figure out, your food and how often you need to clean up stuff, and because you don't have somebody, don't have somebody coming around behind you reminding you that you've got dishes on the floor, or maybe even picking them up for you. So what's kind of been your biggest challenge, or your teammates' biggest challenges right now?
Yeah, me personally, I think it's been at home, back at the apartments, managing, who's cleaning up what, who's going to do the dishwasher today and stuff like that. So I like to, and my roommates would agree, I like to be the voice of reason there, kind of making sure people get stuff done, because if not, I won't be happy.
Okay, I can appreciate that and certainly understand that. You've been an athlete since you were how old, roughly?
Maybe 3.
Yeah, and that's fairly normal. I think we get a lot of recruiting emails into our coaches' offices, and it's always typically the same. I've been playing since a very young age. Now, I haven't gotten one yet, but I'm looking forward to getting one that says I just started playing, last week, and I think I want to play college baseball. Tell me about what other sports did you play besides baseball when you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I tried almost every sport: basketball, soccer, and then football. I never played on a team, but just always playing in the backyard.
Right. What comes to mind when I say, tell me about your worst sports performance?
No, worst sports performance. Basketball I was not good at. It was terrible.
Okay.
I played 7th grade and then didn't make the team 8th grade year.
Okay, so 7th grade year was not a solid performance from you.
Definitely
What were you lacking at that point?
Definitely height, size, confidence, a lot of things. It just wasn't my thing.
Okay. Let's not go too far on this, but confidence, I think you understand at least with what we try to instill in our program, how important that belief system is. Your belief system probably wasn't real high as you're struggling, right? And you weren't able to kind of figure that piece out because maybe you couldn't change your height or your strength at that point. But what would it look like if you could have changed your belief system a little bit? So basketball, worst sports performance for baseball. What stands out?
Sports performance for baseball?
Yeah.
As in what?
As a failure.
There's some camps not good. Not at all.
You're dropping the G word a lot, but
Yep.
what did you do at some of these camps?
Just rough performances and errors in the infield, and I think obviously builds you to who I am now. But there's been some showcases where you don't hit the ball, and it's not great. People are watching.
It's tough because you got a lot of eyes on you.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, I've got to do well. There's expectations, this could be my future and all that. And it becomes tough. I've been fortunate to be able to work a lot of different camps as in my coaching journey. And, you have some empathy for some of the kids that are struggling, because a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with talent. It's just one thing, one little thing stacks on another little thing. And then pretty soon it's a absolute disaster. Yep. And it's like, I just paid a lot of money, or my parents paid a lot of money for this, and I was kind of messed. So let's do a 180. What are some major highlights and achievements in sports that really stand out to you?
Yeah, senior year, I got to throw in our district semifinal game, which was probably one of my best outings I've had as a pitcher, going 7 innings, no runs, 2 hits. So that was definitely something I was happy about, especially with a lot of fans and people there.
How many Ks?
Oh man, at least 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Were you playing in the field at that point too?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that stands out. Anything else stand out?
Freshman year, my first home run.
Okay.
That was something I'll probably always remember.
Did you pull the ball?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Got a nice bat flip, and it was fun for sure that year.
Do you have that on your YouTube page?
It's not on the YouTube page, but it's out there. It's
Really?
for sure out there
Okay.
somewhere.
I think Coach Mo will have to find that and see if we can bring that up. The comeback, and it's kind of a quote I want to bring up, but it's the comeback is always stronger than the setback. What does that make you think of?
Yeah, obviously a current injury we have right now, and to come back better.
You've kind of been dealt with some, a pretty significant injury that it's not something that you can't come back from. It's not something that you're going to need to spend the next, year or 2 years rehabbing from, but you've been handed some cards. And I truly believe, like, when people say enjoy the moments or appreciate what you have, because it can be taken away, even though that it's said, and it can be said from people that you really respect, it's really hard to do that until you've had the experience of that. Once you've had the experience of that, somebody saying something about the comeback can be great, and appreciate what you have, it hits differently. Do you think that's going to hit differently for you moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. You realize when you're not there, kind of all the things you miss out on, and the things that you wish you were there for, and you take advantage of the little things, definitely, and kind of makes you think of what you're going to do differently when you are back playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I think, what I label as experience. And the more life experiences that you can get, the more prepared you are for life. So as I mentioned earlier, we're about 8 weeks in, a little bit over. What have you learned so far in your 8 weeks here? What stands out to you?
Yeah, definitely have learned a lot. Definitely learned how to build new relationships and connections with a lot of different people. People coming from about every different place of the state. So you get to learn a lot from people. That's probably the biggest thing.
Why Lansing? Why'd you end up here?
Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. The win, great program, great coaches, and I knew people that were here prior to me and who have only said good things, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're saying great things, but we've always found like the people in our program are the best advertisers, because everybody's journey is not sunny in 75. Everybody's had to work through some stuff, whether it's injuries or anything else. They've had to work through some stuff. Most people don't have the golden paved road for them at this level. They have to work, and I think that's why at the 4-year level, JUCO kids are treated differently or thought of differently because they know they don't have everything that they do at the Division 1 level or Division 2 level.
Sure.
NAI at the strong NAI level. And so you've got to work for it, and there's an appreciation that comes from that too. There's an understanding that if you really want something, you've got to go after it. And it really doesn't matter what that is that you want. It can be in sports, but it can be in life too. What about the campus? What have you experienced about the campus here?
Yeah, definitely more beautiful than anyone would probably think. Very nice buildings. The people here and the resources that you're provided with is something I didn't think I'd have. And it's definitely been a blessing, especially while being out and having people to connect with and talk to kind of get right back on track.
What about when I say Muni?
Oh, that place is special. I'll remember this probably for the rest of my life, pushing that fence back up. That's something you don't get anywhere else.
And what he's talking about is our center field fence. We had like hurricane force, 70-mile-an-hour winds come through in a storm. We happened to be on the field practicing at that point. We were just finishing, and our center field fence pretty much blew over. So we took our roster the next day and went out there and pushed it back up. So that was pretty special. That's a place that all of our players, since we made that our home, have put a lot of time, effort, energy into making it better. There's a lot of things going on there right now that keep adding and making it better and better. And it's pretty cool to see that all the bricks that get stacked at Muni and how much of a legacy there really is there. We could go through that entire ballpark and talk about, this group did this group did that. It's pretty neat. Tell me about elevators. Stars take the steps. What were you thinking when you heard that, and then you've had to kind of buy into that and be a part of that?
Yeah, at first I was just like, all right, this is different. This is interesting for sure. You don't really hear that anywhere else. And then I like it. We started, the team starts talking about it. Don't see someone on an elevator, and stars take the stairs. It's something I've said to my parents and stuff. And I was in the hospital, and my mom couldn't believe that I wanted to go down the stairs after being in the hospital, but I told her stars take the stairs, so it's something I like.
Yeah, that's really come from the journey is going to take a little extra work, and you're not going to be able to take an elevator to the top of anything. And I don't like elevators because if you're at a higher point and you get in it and you push the button, a lot of them will say going down, and it's like, I'm trying to go up. We're trying to go up as a program, and I think it's just more of a mindset than anything else. It's not something you see on the T-shirts, but you see the elevators in our country are extremely nice, and you'll notice most of the stairs are not. And the reason that is because most people are not taking the stairs. We have something that's called leadership every week, and we do a lot of leadership in our program, and we do a lot of things to teach leadership. We try to teach a lot of lessons. We have speakers that come in. We show videos. We do different things. The selections being shown, and that's kind of a tried and true thing. What have you kind of taken away from that? Because that's a different thing too, and that's a different environment. And I think you had the joke of the week this week to tell, and some people were critics in the back, and some people were laughing. So, what have been some of your lessons from that?
Yeah, number one, it takes you outside your comfort zone. I think everyone kind of will always have the opportunity to talk, or you should be at least talking. So it takes you out of your comfort zone, and then you get to hear from a lot of amazing people who come from the same place as you and from different places as you. And I think I've taken away a lot of great things from that, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think communication is one of those things that's somewhat of a generational thing, but it becomes a little bit harder to communicate. It's not too hard to do a vlog or type some stuff. It's not too bad, but sitting in a room amongst your peers and having to communicate is more of a challenging thing. What you will find though is that's the kind of stuff that will help you down the road. when you need to communicate to your other teams, to your families, and to things like that. It's just a little bit easier. And you're just going to have to work on your jokes of the day. You've got to get everybody laughing at those. So one of the last things I wanted to talk about was at the top of our player sheets, there's a quote, and it says, "The average person has a lifestyle that is incompatible with athletic success. If you want to be a successful athlete, you have to accept not being normal." Does that resonate with you when you hear that?
Yeah, 100%.
Any examples of why it's different to be an athlete than a person? Because, like, for me, I think about, like, athletes are held to a higher standard, and I know we've talked about this to some degree in leadership, but, you know, you can get yourself in trouble, and a lot of people are going to know about it if you're an athlete or a coach. But if you have an everyday normal job, and you can be doing a great work with that normal job, and you get in trouble, really only a small, amount of people are going to know about it. And so you're held to higher standards. And a lot of times those standards aren't the standards that the critics out there, that they're not holding themselves to those standards, but you're held to these other standards. And when you're an athlete, basically with what it's saying is it's incompatible to athletic success. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a higher standard, and with success, I mean, you can have you can have a bad day, and you can go home and be down about that for a while, and or you could choose not to be, and you can bounce back. But I think athletes for sure kind of have a mentally they're in a harder place, and more thoughts in their head for sure.
Yeah, and I think a big piece of that helps prepare you for the next journey you're going to have. I appreciate you being in the studios today, and I hope you've enjoyed your time. Make winning in life your habit, not your goal. Excellence is a practice, not a prize. Build great habits and practices that serve you so you can serve others. Enjoy the moments in life as they go by in a blink of an eye. Until next time, thank you to all of our listeners. We are all playing a game we can't win, so why not play it to the utmost? Go all in and go Stars. Coach Cut's Corner is recorded live in the WLNZ studios. Engineering and production assistance are provided by Dedalian Lowry. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it and follow us on all the platforms of social media. You can find more about our program at lccstars.com, and donations to our baseball program can be made at the same site. See you next time.